all leaders know they must develop strong character to effectively lead. There are specific characters that research shows are attributes found in effective leaders. Character in reflexes leadership, like its definition, is about our most deeply held beliefs, values, and principles. However, a reflexes leader's character is a combination of these values and attitudes anchored by integrity. Integrity is one of those words that's difficult to define or explain, but we know it when we see it and feel it when we don't. A dictionary definition of integrity explains it as a consistency between word and deed, or the perceived degree of congruence between the values expressed by words and those expressed through action. Again, we say what we mean and we mean what we say. Integrity for reflexes leaders is all of that, but also is a clarity of understanding and an accuracy of awareness of themselves in relationship to others. Reflexes leadership divides integrity-anchored character into three major areas: globalism, conversion, and altruism. Globalism. Globalism is the outward expression of integrity-anchored character and is seen in our interpersonal relationships and others' perceptions of that relationship and interaction. It is our presence and how we are present and available to the members of our learning community. It's an appreciation and understanding of the needs of our constituents. Now, there are 5 essential values associated with globalism: respect for others, fairness, cooperation, compassion, and humility. Respect for others, to me, has always seemed like something that never needed to be mentioned. Of course, school leaders would have respect for each other and for others. We learned that in kindergarten, and if we were a Boy or Girl Scout, right? But through the years, I have heard many parents, staffs, and students complain about the lack of respect they felt from their principal or administrator. Most of the time, the principal was shocked that someone thought they were being disrespectful. In one of my first roles as a principal, I worked for a private school where the owner and chief academic offices were in a separate building. She really was an exceptional leader, possessing a strong presence and a great leadership characteristic. She rarely came to my building, and when she did, she was usually in a hurry to get somewhere else, or to deliver some good or bad news in a 3-minute section of a staff meeting, which, in the big scheme of things for me, that was always fine. However, the staff found her arrogant, aloof, and disrespectful. Why? Well, she rarely said hello to anyone and never engaged any staff members in conversation. The staff felt slighted and ill at ease when she was in the building. And although it couldn't be further from the truth, it was their perception. Reflexes leaders are available to all their community members. They show a genuine interest in who they are. They instinctively know what the concerns and needs may be. Especially after using some of the previous steps. They lead by example and show appreciation for the job others do. Reflexes leaders validate others and offer support as needed. The second characteristic is fairness. Pretty simple. What does fairness mean? Wait a minute. Okay, that's right. Treat everyone equitably and in a just manner. A staff member once told me that it wasn't fair to the other students to allow one student that did not have an IEP mandate for separate location to leave the room. Of course, I asked her, why? Without hesitation, she told me all the students couldn't have that same accommodation. The problem was her perception of fairness. The true definition of fair is not that everyone gets the same, equal. It's that everyone gets what they need, equitable. The student in question had high-functioning autism, and the quiet of the room during the test amplified sound for him until the sounds of the pencils on the paper became unbearable. The only fair thing to do was to remove the young man from that situation. When we are open and explain our actions and use the correct definition of fairness, we are perceived as being just. Cooperation. Cooperation is something we discussed in steps 6 and 7. However, when discussing cooperation in terms of character, the definition is slightly different. The perception of being cooperative is that you're available to others and are actively supporting them in their endeavors. It is the creating of avenues and paths to success instead of roadblocks and speed bumps. Compassion. Now, compassion is a value that's not often used for leaders. However, compassion connects us deeply, and because it does, it's perceived as an authentic caring for others' well-being. It is the reflective effort to understand the needs of someone else and take the time to address those needs. When I was in Maryland, a mother once called me near hysterics. She could not make her son come to school. Now, DCPS was involved with this mother and this family. And she was distraught that another absence and she would be in trouble with the system. She was also afraid what would happen if her husband came home and found the boy still in bed. Although this was not your Leave It to Beaver mom by any stretch of the imagination, I really felt for her. I told her I would come over and persuade her son to come to school. A crisis interventionist volunteered to accompany me, and we were able to coax the boy into school. That mother was forever grateful for understanding how desperately she needed help and support to do the right thing. Take a few seconds and just think how being compassionate to your school community members could dramatically change your interaction. Humility. Humility is generally defined as the quality of being modest or lacking in pretense. Like compassion, it's a virtue or quality that's not usually associated with great or dynamic leaders. In fact, as Oliver Wendell Holmes Jr. once said, humility is the first of virtues for other people. Humility is often mistaken for weakness or a lack of fortitude. For reflexive leadership, humility is combining availability to others with an intense professional passion. It's looking to ourselves for putting our mission, and because of the nature of our vision, others first. As mentioned before, humility involves self-honesty, the ability to admit mistakes and change our views and course of action if necessary. It's about acknowledging and appreciating others. There's an old proverb that says, if a leader is good, the people will look and say, look what he did. But when the leader is great, the people will say, look what we did. It's about accepting responsibility and acknowledging other contributions. Or as Coach Bear Bryant paraphrased, remember, I heard this quote by being open-minded to serendipitous learning. If anything goes bad, I did it. If anything goes semi-good, we did it. And if anything goes really, really good, then you did it. Conversion. Conversion in reflexive leadership is turning or converting global and altruistic attributes into action. There are three values associated with conversion: courage, wisdom, and competency.